And welcome into Street News Now. We do this every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Central, and of course 6 p.m. on the West Coast. There's five guys and you. Once again, catch us every Thursday night when we do this. Also, make sure you go to YouTube and type in SNN Street News Now. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like and make sure you share. We're on Facebook Live. I said before about YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Our fearless leader, Lee Michaels, will make an appearance, I was told. I got a chance to talk to him on the bat phone, so he should make an appearance. As we know, we've been keeping it down for him. So let's bring in the gentlemen that continue to bring this together. That is Dr. Ron Ford, Francisco, Chocolate Yaddah, and Professor Reggie Miles. Gentlemen, how you doing this evening?
Doing good.
Wonderful.
Another day in paradise. All good.
Nice. So let's get right into it. So I'm going to go around the table as we always do. So, Dr. Ron Ford, what is on your mind?
Well, we've got this, beautiful comeback or clapback from Dr. Bernice King that I'm looking forward to sharing this evening, to the GOP in your face.
Mm-hmm. And yes, they more than deserve it. Absolutely. Francisco, what's on your docket?
White rage.
And that's all you need to know. That's right. Looking forward to hearing that as well. Now, even though I do it for giggles when it comes to Professor Reggie Miles, because he's the reactionary person on the panel here. But Professor Reggie Miles, what's on your mind? Okay, great. Okay, there we go. I love it.
Best intro yet.
Yeah. That's not even. It's like beyond mic drop. Very
That's
cool.
like Pootie Tang's hit record.
Oh,
I know, right?
Oh man,
very cool indeed.
I
love
know that's
right. Oh man, so
right.
my discussion will be about Georgetown University and how it could be misconstrued as an HBCU. That's coming up later on. So thank you all for being here. And again, we go around the table. So Dr. Ron, have at it. The floor is yours.
Okay. Well, let's start out by saying that Republicans from the GOP have been quoting Dr. Martin Luther King's content of their character speech excerpt out of context, and they've been doing it quite regularly every time they get a chance to get their little 30-second or 60-second or 2-minute news blab, and they keep quoting all of the things out of context. They take one little section, out of the speech and try it, and run it into a prove their point type moment. And Dr. Bernice King has gotten so sick and tired of it. She has been making appearances on the news circuit. She showed up on MSNBC, and she told them, she says, look, you guys don't even know what the content of the speech is all about, because in all of his books and all of his literature, he spoke against oppression. He spoke against racism. He spoke against everything that they're saying that he's not speaking against. And she came out very strongly and told them, go read the material. Go find out what he was really all about before you start trying to twist what her father had said into what you want people to hear and believe. And she was very quite straight to the point by letting people know, you guys don't even understand what he was about, and to try and just take one little section of his speech, the end, and try and use it for what you all want to try and say. well, can't we just get over it? And even Martin Luther King said everything was all right. Let's not look at the color of our skin. Man, they have been abusing that religiously lately. And she came out of the closet. She's never been in the closet, but she has came out forward and said, "Stop it," because you don't even understand what the rest of the speech was talking about, and you're just using what is to your advantage. So I know my brothers are, I know y'all familiar with Dr. Bernice King and how she has been, ripping the GOP a new one, rightfully so. So I know you guys got some comments behind that.
Well, let me be first to ask the question. We know the obvious. They take what they can use to fight against everything else. So yeah, you take a little bit out of the speech and then you polarize it and say, "Aha, this is what the speech is," when it really was not. I applaud Dr. Bernice King for coming forward, not only for the legacy of her father, but for the legacy of what Dr. King meant to a lot of people. From your perspective, Dr. Ron, when we go beyond that, what kind of version of Dr. King do we get? Because over the years, we'll get the McDonald's corporate version. The "I Have a Dream" is brought to you by McDonald's. So Dr. King's legacy has always been bastardized and used and abused. So with Republicans doing that, I mean, aren't they just like following suit from what everybody else is doing?
I think they're abusing it. I think that they're trying to move away from what the public is demanding of the Republicans right now. And Dr. King spoke against, trying to Jim Crow, trying to make rules and regulations that are required before you can vote. Like, tell me how many jelly beans is in this jar. He fought against all of those things. So the things that the GOP are doing now in their mass movement across the country, is in direct conflict with Dr. King and what he represented and what he was trying to do with his legacy and his life. So I think that they're abusing. Now, for commercial purposes, there's a lot of abuse across the board, yes, but you cannot take what the GOP is doing and say that's for commercial purposes.
Right. And anything for commercial purposes, the King family makes money on. So, and generally they have to approve it before they can make money on something like that. So I don't count that as abuse. Absolutely, the right wing has always tried to skew King's legacy and try to make it fit their agenda when clearly King's agenda was the antithesis of the Republican agenda. And yeah, they even last year when the riots and protests broke out, the right took this one sentence completely out of context when King was talking about protesting, but King was in favor of protesting, obviously. The Selma bus boycott was a protest. It's just typical propaganda nonsense that the right wing is engaging in. And frankly, it's embarrassing because it's like, hey, folks, everybody knows who this man was. And even if you don't have a deep knowledge of MLK, it takes you less than 3 minutes to look up any of this stuff. So, now anyone that has a cell phone has access to the world now. So you can't hide things from people. So yeah, they're going to do what they always did, but they're all liars and they're just bastardizing his message to try to contort it in a way that will fit the nonsense that they're doing now.
Totally agree. Come on, Professor. You probably can quote the whole speech, can't you?
No, but I mean, what do you expect at this time? You know, anytime something that comes out like that for me, from my vantage, you know, I'm looking for the okie doke. You know, I'm trying to find out what the come around is. And so, you know, of course now, you know, I guess for them it's the perfect time to try to embrace Dr. King in any kind of way they can. See, because when they embrace Dr. King, they still don't have to deal with the Voting Rights Act, which is Dr. King.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So while they're trying to undermine his work, they're praising him. It's
Right.
beautiful
You know,
propaganda.
So,
Right.
so you know, I'm like, you know, if anything that needs, you guys know that I'm hardcore. If there's anything that needs to be talked about, is the voting rights law. That's the only thing that needs to be talked about. When is that going to be a law for people of color? Period. Period. Y'all can't, the powers that be, y'all cannot be as scared. You can't be afraid of us. You need to do right by us and take care of us in order for us to vote for you. I mean, that's like, you know, that's too much like right. You know, when you don't want to satisfy a voting bloc, you know, but you want to cheat a voting bloc out of a right to vote. So in order for you to still deal with your propaganda, just be right. Just be right. And we have to stay steadfast and become a stronger voting bloc. We have to be, because they need to come and present to us. You know, you need to present. What is your agenda that's going to benefit, you know, our people of color, poor people, whatever it is. And don't blind me with science or blind me with the words of Dr. King, and you all are not doing nothing with the Voting Rights Act or with the voting rights law. I don't want to hear it, you know. So this ear, out the other ear. You know, I mean, it's pop BS. You know, it's BS. It's BS, and I think that might be more to satisfy their base, to give their base, because everybody wants to have a feel. Oh, Dr. King, he was just, oh yes, but yet the real issue that's on the table, you're not going to look at that because oh yes, Dr. King, that's just another distraction. You know, stop using Dr. King as another distraction. You know, you all knew when that man got to the point he started convincing people that, hey, if we both sitting at this table and I ain't got no money and you ain't got no money, what are we fighting for? Why are we fighting? Why are we fighting against one another? And they spending all this money for the war, and you know what the results of was that type of conversation that he was putting down. You know, so I agree with you guys. You know, stop bastardizing and stop doing all this. One of the comments in our session said that those people shouldn't even have their, his name in their mouth.
Totally.
Hey, fearless leader.
Here's the fearless leader, Lee Michaels. What's up, dog?
And he brought an echo with him.
Yes, sir.
I got an echo.
Man's ass who's he got in here, man. You like to start shit. Boy, you a shit starter,
That's my
Francisco.
middle
I'm
name.
telling you,
Goddamn
man.
it.
Listen, I haven't even
how you doing, Doc?
mentioned Ron's big head in the camera yet, so I'm doing all right.
Okay, great. Boy, you talk about somebody swinging, and now he's gone. See, you scared our fearless leader out of the goddamn program. Ooh wee.
Yeah. Well, I think, and I'm going way out on a limb here when I say this. There were a lot of blacks and brown skinned people that were in number 45's camp, and to try and use the name of Dr. King to try and pump them up for feeling good about being in the camp that they're in. I don't think it's going to be successful on no level, because people, you know, they're not as lulled to sleep as fast as they used to be. You know, now case in point, there's a lot of people that are taking a nap, and I ain't talking about a dirt nap like Chris used to always like to quote, you know, dirt naps, you know, but the fact that people are awoke on different levels, you know, there's different levels to their awakeness, and to, you know, try and you know, try to say that oh yeah, well, we believe in what Dr. King said on this part right here, you know, the section on the end, you know, we like that part. We don't like the other part, but this part right here, we can get with. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know, they pick and choose what they want to.
I mean, you know, everybody from jump, the cat with Dr. King wasn't only the elite never had accepted him from the word go from day one, man. It was a campaign against that, man, from Jump Street, you know, to discredit him in all kinds of ways, especially from the government, right? With Mr. Hoover and all the things that he tried to do. Everybody tried to paint this man as not being who he is, and then of course some of his words and stuff, you know, the media and things like that, they was like using that against us. Cause look, the only speech that they talk about, right? The only thing that they talk about is "I have a dream." It's the only thing they talk about. 1963, and that was just a hooping sermon to give people, you know, to make people feel good. But the whole thing about the 10 points that was going on that march, you know, we're not even talking about that. And those same things still exist. The first thing they say about MLK is "I have a dream." It's the first thing they've been presented with.
Yeah.
You know, because of the spiritual nature and emotionalism of our people. Now, true, he had those people. He had many people that were following him. You know, that were following him. But the 10 points of the March on Washington, we have yet to even see any of that. None of that. We've seen none of that. None of that.
I'll tell you something. No, we're going to bring in our fearless leader, Lee
just
Michael.
before we do, Lee, just so you know, there's a ton of noise coming from your mic.
Yeah, I'm in a damn truck.
Oh,
18-wheeler.
Another hostage situation.
You got an earpiece?
I'm trucking. I'm trucking, brothers.
Do you have an earpiece?
Yeah, is it really bad?
No, it actually just went away now. Oh, it's back.
Yeah, when you're listening, I think it's feedback from your speaker. You know, so if you got an earpiece,
I'm gonna mute my mic. Watch.
It's gone.
Oh, it's gone now. Okay.
It's coming through the microphone. I'm sitting in the cab of an 18-wheeler, and
Gotcha.
that's what it is. God,
How
damn,
many
what's wrong
hostages
with
do
my
you have this time?
Look like I got measles or some shit.
All I can say is you got uglier since your birthday. That's all I'm gonna say. You know?
That's guaranteed. Well, look. First of all, it's good to be here with you guys. And hey, Barbara Jean, yeah, Uncle Lee in the house like a child on punishment. Lockdown, baby. And Professor, it's good to see you.
Yes.
How things going at school?
Man, everything is doing fine. I'm teaching them programming, and one of my students just left. You know, so I decided to sit in for a few before I make it home. And other than that, I've had neighborhood challenges. You know, taking out my friends. This COVID thing is not stopping. Another one of my buddies is gone.
It's crazy. I'm out here in California, and they're making us wear a mask again. Mm-hmm. You know, my biggest fear from day one was whether or not we were rushing, you know, too fast to take the mask off and go back out in public and, you know, go to restaurants and all that. You know, listen, I'm in the service industry. My son is in the service industry. He owns his own trucking company. I have a limousine service. So we're in the transportation business. I want people to start flying and driving and going places and having fun and all of that, but not at the expense of it killing you.
Yeah.
I'm just not with that. You know, I sat on my ass for a year and a half waiting for this thing to go away. I'm willing to wait a bit longer if it means that we need more time to get it under control. My biggest fear was we were rushing to fail. And with this latest strain, the Delta thing, listen, folks, be careful. Don't take this thing lightly. You know, don't go around, you know, Eric Clapton, I just saw in the news. Well, he's not going to play anywhere where they require people to wear a mask. Well, keep your ass at home, Eric. You don't need to work no damn way. In fact, you just lost me as a fan, and I was a huge Eric Clapton fan.
That would have been significant 25 years ago. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, well, that too. That's true.
I still like Sheriff. I still like it.
Well, you know, I love that song Layla and several other songs that he put out.
Yeah, but who's taking the cues from Eric Clapton? I mean, I love his music, but Jesus.
Yeah, that's my point. I mean, is anybody really? I mean, only his real fans are all weed heads. You know, we're all 70 plus years old. And I mean, listen, I don't give a damn what Eric Clapton said, but I'm disappointed that he would step out and make such an asinine statement. And all that's doing is encouraging those who are already stuck on stupid. Mm-hmm. All of those people that are sitting around with this conspiracy crap stuck up your nose. Hey, look, folks, let it go, okay? Let it go, let it go, let it go. If you want to get your life back the way you want it, whatever that is, comply. Have a little respect for your neighbors, the people in your community.
Oh, you're asking a lot, Lee. You're asking a lot.
The world. No, it's not asking a lot. It really is.
Well, it isn't really. It isn't really, but it is in the context of the people that we're talking about. Because what Americans have demonstrated very clearly over the last year and a half is that they are basically just giant toddlers masquerading as adults. These are people that have no self-discipline, no self-control, no patience, no consideration, no compassion, no empathy. I've been driving for rideshare for a few months now, and I have people every day that want to get in the car without a mask on. And I have to remind them. And actually what I'm going to start doing is locking the doors so people can't get in if they don't have a mask on, because I'm not compelled to drive these people.
Burn rubber. Burn rubber. Leave them at the curb. Burn rubber on them.
I need to respond. You know, some of I don't know about all the people, but like, what about the people and what about the African Americans in Alabama who scared, who still have this fear because of the Tuskegee experiment?
I totally understand that. I did not get my first shot of the vaccination until just a few hours ago. And it was because of my overabundance of caution because of America's history with experimentations on Black and brown people. Mm-hmm. All right. It was for other reasons as well. You know, the fact that, you know, this is a new technology that they use to create these vaccines. So I wanted to measure twice and cut once. So I read and kept up with it. My main concern was the variants. And once I found out that Pfizer is particularly effective against the variants, then I made the decision just this past Tuesday to go ahead and get vaccinated. So I understand that, but that's not what I'm referring to. I'm not referring to vaccinations. I'm referring to the simple behavior of wearing a friggin' mask in public. It's not a hard thing. It's not an inconvenience. It's just a different thing that we're asking people to do. It's not a law. It's just really a request. We are requesting that people do this. And again, I'm not speaking about every single human being, but in general, Americans are assholes. and they are proven that over and over and over again.
Well, you know what? I agree with you to this degree. I'll say that the majority of the people in this country are doing the right thing. It's the minority. It's those that are stuck on stupid, that believe in this conspiracy that, you know, this is going to change your DNA and one day you're going to wake up with 2 heads and they're going to be able to follow you around and push a button and your head is going to explode. I mean, those are the weirdos that are not going or haven't taken the shots yet.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you're right, but that's not what I've seen. Well, what I've seen is that when I went to the laundromat on Monday, I was the only one wearing a mask. So your proportions are completely reversed in my experience. It's the majority of people that are being idiots, and only a minority that are doing the right thing, and that's what concerns me. Again, I can't say that what I've witnessed is the absolute fact, but that's what I'm seeing.
Where does then I think then we need to there needs to be some better information channels, because it just seems like and I'm not supporting it, but you know, people are just confused over all the things that they're reading in this research. Because
but they're not reading the research. What they're listening to is the talking heads on the right that are denying everything. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene recently said that if you're young and not overweight, you'll be fine. It's only attacking the old. And then a 5-year-old child died in her district, and she chuckled about that because she thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think America has not done a good job of disseminating information.
Right. So
we have the internet, we have television, we have cell phones. You could blast out messages constantly, but the problem is the most vocal and the most consistent messages are coming from the people spreading misinformation and propaganda.
Yeah.
So I agree with you.
Yeah. So we do have to educate the base a little bit more. So as in the immortal words of that great poet Flavor Flav, people won't fall into believing the hype. Flavor Flav.
You just talked about the whole thing about the conservative right, because we bashed them, and that's great. They deserve to be bashed. Going back to what you just said, if you have an audience that you watch, say on Fox News, for example, and they're telling you that it's not good, that, you know, they're taking away your rights. That was the main thing they had last year. It's your right not to put on the mask. How dare they tell you shouldn't do all that type of crap? And they buy into it.
I want to ask the question to all of those on the right, on Fox and all these other internet stations. I want to know if they have taken the shot.
Almost all of them have.
Yeah.
Almost all of them have.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, look at Sean Hannity, for example. The face of the network said, "Go get yourself vaccinated." You know, and this was the guy that was the Trump whisperer for years. Yeah. But it's a mixed crowd on Fox News, because Tucker Carlson is saying, "Don't get the shot." Hannity's saying, "Get the shot," and the friendly people on the Fox News in the morning, those rat bastards, they saying, "Get the shot." So they have a mixed message going on their own network over there.
And by the way, you said his name wrong, Chris. It's Fucker.
Okay, motherfucker. I go along with that.
Well, you know,
Fucker Carlson. We'll go along with that too. Yeah.
You know, and it's so crazy. You know, you talk about misinformation. You know, every day it changes. Last week they were talking about the people that were getting the virus, the Delta variant, and dying were all the people that were not vaccinated. Mm-hmm. This week they're saying that people that are vaccinated are testing positive for the variant. Some are living and some are dying. So there's so much, you know, confusion with the information.
Well, who is out. They? When you say they, who are you referring to?
The news media.
What news? Because Fox is part of the news media.
Yeah, Fox, CNN. Okay. You know,
Yeah.
local
So,
news in
right.
Chicagoland area.
But here's the thing. There's this thing that I believe in. It's a very simple concept. It's go straight to the source. And we know what the source is. The source is the World Health Organization, the CDC, and Dr. Fauci. In my opinion, those are the sources, right? These are the infrastructures that get funded multi-billion dollars per year to get their arms around diseases and immunology and all these things. Okay, and you can criticize them if you want to, but that's who the source is, or who the sources are. So that's who I go to, and I'm not confused at all. And I'm no genius. I'm just a talking monkey. So if I can figure it out, other people can figure it out also.
Yeah, it would be nice,
Well,
but people don't do
called,
that.
see,
Holy
that's
crap,
called
Lee, there's two of
common
you.
right. I'm a Gemini.
Damn.
Yeah, years. You are.
I didn't like the 5 squares. Now it's 6.
Yeah, the black ass Brady Bunch. Yeah, keep going.
Right. That's right.
But wait a minute. That canceled out the feedback.
It did, huh?
Yeah.
That boy's
That's funny.
genius. That boy's
Okay.
genius.
See, I was on my
Everything.
tablet. This is the tablet here. I'm shaking it. And this is one of my cell phones.
Oh man, that cancels the stuff out.
Okay.
I don't hear the crazy noise no more. What kind of phone you got a Apple phone?
No, this is an Android.
Oh man,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an Android 10.
Yes.
Oh, help.
Yeah. Well, you know,
as if an iPhone would perform better. All right.
Right.
Whatever.
I'm not saying that. I didn't say that either. But what I'm saying that you got them 2 devices up there like that, and it must be some kind of phase cancellation, Lee, because I don't hear that crackling, that feedback stuff. That's out of sight.
All right. Well, I don't know.
You might have opened a portal or something. Who knows?
I don't know.
If suddenly a lion walks into your truck, you'll know for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody caught that Narnia reference? Nobody?
Yeah. We don't know what's behind that curtain either, right? You know that curtain he got back there.
What is it?
We
do know. We just can't say. We can't say how many hostages are back there.
Gotcha. So, you know, as Chocolate Yoda just quoted, there are certain people that give us better information than others. So if and I'm going to encourage many people.
There's the feedback.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're doing that.
Turn the volume down on one of them.
I got it.
There you go.
Yeah. So, you know, I want to encourage people, because this is too important not to go full circle with it. People, go do some homework for yourself. Don't just rely on information that could be changed today and tomorrow. They might change it today and tomorrow.
And by the way, here's what's been consistent from the beginning, because this whole narrative of the information is confusing is something that I just don't buy into. But, you know, it's very simple. What we've heard from the beginning: masks, wash your hands, social distance. Simple. That's the information that was given out in 1918. It's the information that was given out in 2020 and has not changed since then. And that's the main thing. Those 3 things, you will protect yourself, you will protect your family, you will protect your friends, you will protect your coworkers. Okay? You know, what else do you need to know?
Well, then somebody will come on the TV and then they'll say, well, you shouldn't be doing that. And then next thing you know, the person again.
Yeah, but whoever the someone is, that's the important thing. We've got to consider the source.
Listen, and that goes with everything. But you know, it's like a song that the New Birth made. Things are coming from all ends. They're coming from everywhere. And the discernment of what's going on now, sometimes some of our people ain't ready for that. They're not ready for that. you know, they're not ready for that. And so they dealing with feelings and stuff like that. So people that need to keep saying stuff, we need to keep saying it. That needs to keep being pushed. And yeah, I mean, you're right. I agree with you, but there's so much out here. It's like, for me, it's like 10,000 guys that got on a red and got on a white shirt and red pants. How in the hell are you going to tell the difference between any one of them? You can't. And so we've got every type of news outlet that's going on this thing called the internet. It's beautiful that we have all of this, but we have to become more of a discerning people. And then we haven't set any standards. There's no standards set for it yet.
Right. But there is one standard. There is one. Because here's the beauty, and by and large, I agree with what you're saying. However, on this one issue, there is only one top immunologist in America, and his name is Dr. Anthony Fauci. So there is no confusion about his message. He's been consistent since day one. The dump organization tried desperately to get him to mute his message, and they convinced him to change his message in the very beginning. But since that time, since roughly March of 2020, he has been saying the same thing. So since there's not 15 Anthony Fauci's or 100 Anthony Fauci's, just one, and you don't earn the moniker of top physician for no reason. He's been on the forefront of these diseases for over 50 years. So he's the guy that I encourage everyone to listen to and cut out all the other names.
And may I ask a question? Do we know the number of how many people died with Anthony Fauci still at the head? How many people died from this disease?
That's not an appropriate question, because it wasn't Anthony Fauci that caused people to die. It was the misinformation coming out from the dump administration.
Your point, you're saying he's the number one such and such and such and such.
So who else would you go to? Who else would you go to for information?
I'm not going to nobody else. What I'm saying is not everyone listened to Dr. Anthony Fauci.
I know, and that's my point. That's who you need to listen to, in my opinion, is the top person in that field.
Okay, now his message was out there, but then what was your friend that was the president? What you call him?
Dump.
Okay, so because that's what you, and he had imported some other person, and this other person was saying that this was going on. So to get Fauci canceled out, and then they was talking about bleach, and then they was talking. So all of this,
and that's why he has blood on his hands. I agree with you. It was a horrible. It was a disservice. This, in my opinion, speaking to what you just said, Dump needs to be standing in front of the Hague for crimes against humanity. And I'm not saying that to be hyperbolic. I'm saying that literally. He caused the death of over 500,000 people because of his bullshit.
And Anthony Fauci was still in the thing, man. So it's too much. Sometimes it's like, for me, it's like you got this soup that's being cooked, or this gumbo, and everybody is trying to put some seasoning in it. And next thing you know, can't nobody eat the damn soup.
Yeah.
So we have to have some media literacy. That's what I was trying. The definition of media literacy has to be stronger. The standards have to be put out there, and it's gonna be really hard, because you got half of the country believing in this craziness. And the majority
the head chef is Fauci, so if anyone else is in the kitchen, don't listen.
Yeah, well, but
look,
I'm trying to stay with the cooking metaphor,
Yeah.
Look, especially when they invited in Mr. Pillow, he came in and said, "Yeah, y'all remember that?" Mr. Pillow came in there and said, "Hey, y'all ain't got to do what he said. Y'all remember that?"
I've got evidence that there was voter fraud because, you know, I'm not relapsing on crack, I promise.
By the way, Mr. Pillow makes a suck-ass pillow.
It's awful. I bought 2 of his pillows. They are absolutely terrible.
I've never purchased one, but I know people who have.
Oh man,
it's garbage.
I took
his
it back
pillow
to
is
the
truly
store.
garbage.
I bought it and took it back to the store. I kid you not. Walmart gave me money back. He said, "Okay, we understand."
I spent a quarter of the money on Amazon and got much better pillows.
Yeah.
Look, the Better Business Bureau came out with an article saying that out of all the products from nationwide, from coast to coast, the My Pillow has the most F++ behind it. The most. So it's like, just shut that shit down, Doc, because nobody likes your product. That means
what happens when you let a crackhead run a company
on the national front about your damn pillow.
Nobody.
Nobody liked it.
Nobody.
And nobody liked his advice either. Remember, he came forward talking about, "Oh yeah, I heard this report, and you don't need nothing but some vitamin C or something stupid." He said, I can't remember what the hell he said, but
there's no point in quoting that crackhead.
Yeah, look, and that was after they kicked Fauci out of all the press conferences. Then all of a sudden, Mr. Pillow showed up.
Yeah.
Okay,
then the inmates were running the asylum.
Absolutely.
At least that's the persistent rumor.
There you go.
Yeah, I caught that. Yeah, that's a plug, Doc.
TPR, right?
Yeah.
All the time.
That's my middle name.
Well, don't wear it out.
But
the thing about it is that when you are able to connect to somebody emotionally, the nation deals with high drama. It's always been a high drama situation. If you're able to, again, get the attention of the soul and the heart and not the mind, if nobody thinks, you can be led to slaughter literally. So you always do with people who are, look, if you're stuck on stupid and then you're dangling on dumb, you're just about to fall off the cliff.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. So if someone says to you emotionally to you and you're not thinking, it's easy to be stupid. It's easy because it requires no thought process whatsoever. Anybody can tell you anything and not questioning authority or questioning, hey man, I can't eat this, it's too hot. But someone says it's good for you, the heat, don't worry about the inline of your stomach. Don't worry about that. Just go on and eat it. Okay. And then you go on and do it without even thinking about it. See, that's when the connectability comes. Hell, even these goddamn reality shows, it's all high drama. So once you pipe into that high drama emotional, you get people watching these goddamn programs who vicariously live through them.
Yeah.
Oh man, if that was me, I wanted to divorce her. It ain't got nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? Nothing to do whatsoever. But they get you locked in, and that's where, of course, your metrics and numbers come in. But it's the same with any other thing when someone's telling you something and you never question it. It's the damnedest thing.
Did you know that the Scripps Howard cable network channel Newsy folded on the 30th? They folded, and like they were centered. You know, these were students that were given. It wasn't all GOP. It wasn't all DEM either. You know, but they folded. So it's a straight battle now of all right and all left.
Yep.
And they fighting over these advertising dollars. All right and all left. You know.
Yeah, I love what Jed just said. You know, that's facts right there. You know, Fauci has been on the hill all week, and Rand Paul has been trying to get Fauci's head for the last month or so, and Fauci wasn't going easily. He told him straight up, "Yes, sir, you are a liar."
And the thing that he put into the record, he said, I want to enter into the record that Rand Paul does not know what he's talking about.
Right.
That was my favorite. And, you know, it reminds me of that famous quote from the McCarthy era. You older dudes were around for that. I missed that. But when, you know, finally somebody got fed up with Joseph McCarthy, and he said, at long last, have you no shame or something like that. I think it was at long last have you no shame.
Right.
You know, and that's how I feel about the right. It's like, you know, it's one thing when you're playing the political game of spreading propaganda just so you can get your agenda across, just so you can stay in power. It's another thing entirely when hundreds of thousands of people are dying because of your misinformation. And I know these people are not going to be held accountable, but I really wish they would be.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson made a song. He said, don't nobody, he said, they don't really care about us.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
yeah. Well,
I think it's beyond that even.
Talk to me.
I just think that they're so evil, so selfish.
Yeah.
That they can't see and don't want to see anything beyond that.
Well, you know, once you taste that power, once you get once you get hooked on that power, you know that power is worse than crack. You know you gonna want to have it, and you steady looking for that first high. You steady looking for that first taste of power, and they're not going to go out quietly. And this is nothing new. This is nothing new. They've been going. The elite have been moving to do this over and over and over again. You know.
Yep. The art of deception. Yep.
What about?
You know, it's just painful to think that here in 2021 there are a significant number of Americans that believe bullshit. Okay?
Media literacy, baby.
The majority of the people have taken the shot or in the process of taking the shot. So that's encouraging. So we have to convince more people to change their minds. And now, how do you do that? See, we know what the problem is. We've been talking about it for 47 minutes. We know what the problem is. It has become a political ping pong ball. But in reality, it's about life and death. This is killing people, human beings, people that should still be here. Do you know that life expectancy in America has gone down 1.5 years because of COVID? Now, I want to live to be 100. So you're telling me I'm only going to live to be 188, maybe 80, 88 and a half? I want to live to be 100 years old.
You got another year to go, man. Hang in there.
I wish it was that soon, but I got a few more than that.
You don't look a day over 90, though. That's the important thing.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, Bismarck Key died at 57? He didn't die from COVID. Yeah. He died from diabetes.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
He died from
another preventable disease.
Yeah. So and he knew 3 years ago that he had to change his lifestyle, his eating habits. I think I saw he lost 150 pounds, or a large amount of weight. It was probably a little too late. So I'm bringing that up to say this: don't wait any longer. Take the damn shot. Yeah, you might get some side effects from it. One of my driver buddies just took the shot a couple of days ago. He got the headache. He got a little feverish and all of that. I talked to him today. He's cool. He's, I think, 27, 28 years old. So the young people can be affected by it as well. By the way, he had already had COVID, but he's still alive. Mm-hmm. He's had his first shot now.
Yeah.
And he had Pfizer. So what are we afraid of? Afraid of the fact that you were wrong? The fact that you were believing in the hokey pokey boogeyman bullshit? Let it go. Let it go. You can say, well, yeah, there's people that still, they're taking the shot and they got sick and some of them died. What's the numbers look like? Talk to me about numbers. 630,000 people in America died. 99.9% of them did not receive the shot. The majority of the people that are going to the hospital today, the majority of the people that are seriously sick are the ones that said no to the shot.
Yeah, that's 99% is vaccinated people. And by the way, that's why I just said I don't want to be part of that fraternity. So
right.
I'm going to get the vaccination.
Y'all know I told y'all.
If you got an IQ 2 points below plant life, those are the facts, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the real numbers. If anybody tells you anything different than that, look at them cross-eyed, because they're trying to hoodwink you, fool you into believing some real bovine.
You know, Dr. Fauci, didn't nobody had to tell me. I went in that place, and when my resident, my county, my area where I live, by my age, when they sent it to me, I went in there and I told them I need them hits. Got to have them hits. Payback. Just give me them hits. Listen. Because when they said that, when Joe took it, and he's still around, I went and took my hit. We got on this show back then, and we was fighting about it. I told y'all I took my hit. I took it. Mm-hmm. Especially it came from the blue company. I was gonna get that $5. Oh man, I trusted that all the way, man.
You mean it's like I love you. It's like, hey man, I get the shot. And I could be all right in the bedroom for 4 hours.
Man, that's what I was saying. And you know what? You talking about give me the blue shot. I want that hit. It was no doubt in my mind, because I really didn't have nothing to lose, because under my conditions, what I'm living with, you understand? If it hit me, that was gonna take me out. So I needed to have my immune system needed some type of strengthening. And so since they said that thing strengthens the immune system, and then it stops when you get it, that what kills you is the blood clots that's coming, that your stuff ain't circulating. Man, I say, give me that hit. Give it to me. Right away. It was no doubt in my mind. No doubt. Because by the way, from my lifestyle and whatever, what my underlying conditions are, I needed something to help me to stay here longer. Right. Because the way that disease or that virus is working, if you have underlying conditions, it's gonna rip you apart. It's gonna take you out. It's gonna take you out. And so I didn't need anyone to convince me. You understand? Because
by the way, Professor, how's your wife?
She's fine. She, as a matter of fact, she's been home. She got home, and she's been home since Monday, and it was kind of scary. They had to figure out to get her medicine right, because she has that sarcoidosis stuff. And she taking them steroids and stuff like that, and it was causing her to have a lot of weight gain. And then that water on her, they drained all that stuff off of her.
Yeah.
They got it.
Good. They got her tuned up.
Yeah, she getting on my nerves again.
Okay, welcome back.
Yeah, it's all.
Hey, you know what? You just reminded me of a story of a woman that I knew regarding steroids. This woman was hitting menopause. And she went to the doctor, and he prescribed steroids for her. And he said, all right, come back in 2 weeks. Just want to make sure that the dose is right and everything is working right. So she comes back in 2 weeks, and he says, so how are you feeling? Any changes, any side effects? She said, yeah, well, I have a little hair on my chest. And he's like, oh, wow, let me take a look at that. And so she opens up the top button of her blouse, and he can see the patch of hair. And as she keeps opening buttons, he sees more hair, and he says, "How far down does that go?" She says, "All the way to my balls." And that's another thing I want to talk to you about.
I saw that one coming.
Look, wait a minute. Boom, boom.
Thank you very much. I'll be here all week. Don't forget to tip your waiter.
Tip the waitresses too while you're at it, right?
Yeah, that's good. That was a good one.
Man.
All the way down to the balls.
That's another thing I'll talk to you about, right?
Well,
oh man, that's good stuff.
You know,
well, since Francisco is here all week tipping waitresses, Francisco, you want to come up next to your topic, sir?
Oh boy, yeah, we're already getting close to our time, but I'll cover this fairly quickly. I think I had alluded to Mark Milley, the Joint Chiefs of Staff head, the top general in America. About a month ago, he was talking about how he thinks it's important for the military to study critical race theory. And while his ideas about that are commendable, and I applaud what he said about that, while he was talking, he had said that he wanted to understand white rage. He wanted to understand what white people are angry about, and it got me thinking about my experiences early on in life, in my early teens, and that. And it's something that Chris Rock alluded to in his 1999 HBO special, when all these white people running around screaming, "We're losing, we're losing." And Rock's answer to that was, "Well, who do you think is winning? Because it ain't us." But that's this weird thing. Like, I want to know why in this day and age that the dominant culture in America is so angry, even though their lives are demonstrably better than they ever have been in world history. And that's again, not hyperbole. That's a fact. That's a demonstrable fact. You can go through all the metrics of life expectancy, health care, food, water, crime, living conditions, financial opportunity, all sorts of stuff. A few things are off here and there, but for the most part, to be white in America is the best thing to be in America. So I want to know what the panel thinks is creating this white rage.
Mm.
Well, one thing is that the census had a story about this a while back, saying by probably the years 2040, between 2040 and 2050, we no more Caucasian race people. And so they will be completely eradicated.
That's not what the census is saying. Actually, you're close. It's saying that black and brown people will outnumber white people if you combine those two groups.
Okay, I go along with that too. But the article I was talking about was most likely talking about the eradication of mostly white people because of race mixing and people, coming together and not seeing race. It was focusing on the diminishing percentages of the Caucasian race. Now that's about what I'm talking about, what the census was saying. And you are correct.
We're outpopulating them, and it's understandable. Yes. I mean, just listen to country music. How can you have sex to that?
I don't want to talk about that. Anyway, so the fact that I think a lot to do with just being scared, and the fact that you still have people out here, obviously, who are racist, obviously who continue that type of mentality when it's when you see people. Hell, you can watch commercials nowadays with people of mixed backgrounds, of mixed families. So it's not like we can't ignore it. It is what it is. You love who you love. It doesn't matter what the race the person is. And society is moving forward, but some people don't want to move forward. They would rather keep the ways to go the old-fashioned way and stick with your race. And if you can't use your comb, don't bring her home. All that bullshit. That still goes on. It does.
I don't believe in interracial relationships. That's why I only have sex with people of the human race.
And you must be doing a good job of it. So that's fantastic. So but see, your mentality is like that, and a certain other percentage of people are like that. But at the same time, you have once again, that's low percentage of people who just will not buy into it. And I think again, it's just pushback. It's the fact that society is going on without you. From that standpoint, and you can't understand it. Not these people who are out there who continue to be part of the problem, not the solution.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that in part. I think the fact is that white rage isn't new. So even though the conditions that you're talking about are absolutely true and they're happening, this condition of white rage predates that, predates all of that. Like like think about this. I want to understand how someone who's never even met a Jew in real life can decide as an adult to go to Home Depot and buy a tiki torch so that he can walk through the streets of Charlottesville saying Jews will not replace us. I mean, I want to know that guy's life story, because how do you get from A to Z? And that's fascinating to me. Yeah. And by the way, most of these people that were chanting that have never met a Jew.
No.
Okay, Jews are a tiny population, and they're mostly concentrated on the East Coast, right? So how are these people like so afraid of Jews and convinced that Jews are trying to replace them? Like, there's a real psychosis that goes along with this white rage.
Absolutely, but that goes back to earlier conversation I said about people who do not think. If someone tells you that and you believe it, that's it. There is no thought process. There is no, hey, wait a minute. There is no, because you could be told anything. So someone told you Jews are going to take over the whole world. Yes. Okay, but you have no thought process to understand, hey, wait a minute. Where's the person coming from? What are they talking about? They're just emotional content. Like I said before, this is what they do. So if someone tells you something, you go along with it, they got your hook, line, and sinker without no thought process whatsoever.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a lawmaker in America. And she, a couple of months ago, referred to Jewish space lasers as the cause of the forest fires in California. I mean, that's a level of stupid that is radioactive. Oh, yeah, no, you heard me right. Jewish space lasers created the forest fire. Yes. So not only space lasers, but Jewish space lasers, and they were creating forest fires in California on purpose because, of course, as everyone knows, that's what people do when you have space lasers. I mean, that's a level of stupid that I would be afraid to stand near her for fear that her stupid could get on me.
Yeah, I agree. More like a space cadet on her end.
I never heard that one before.
I mean,
oh, look it up. Go into Google and give yourself a laugh. Type in Jewish space lasers. You will see that dumb idiot's face pop up.
Commentary like whatever this lady's name is, that's designed to be a distraction. That's not the first time, that's not the first time it appeared. You had a whole group of ladies that was blowing the minds of this country called the Daughters of the Confederacy.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing.
By the way, if you want to remember her name, I just call her Butterface.
Yeah, well, whatever. A lot of stuff I'm gonna just try to ignore it, but it was the Daughters of the Confederacy. They was, and they resurging not because they wanted to preserve the big lie that the South did not lose. And they were going around making all these claims about this, that, and other, and fueling the fires for white supremacy, and all this old kind of mess. So we got to get that stuff. We got to get things like that on the table, so we can educate our people more as to the origins of certain rhetoric. The origins, what they call it. What is that? The etymology, or going to the root.
Yep.
Going to the
etymology,
root.
Genealogy.
Yeah, all that, all that kind of stuff. I'm just not catching up with that kind of stuff.
The origin is perfect. Yeah. No, and there's a lot that happens in America that has really dark origins. Like something I'll talk about in future podcasts is this whole austerity economics.
Yeah.
That's got deep rooted racism from the jump embedded in it, and people don't even know that.
And then, you know, how come? Why did the Ku Klux Klan get started? Why was that? Why do they have this? Why do they have this ideology of just, you know, they don't want no race mixing and this, that, and other? Why? Because they know that genetically they're inferior.
Mm-hmm.
They know that. They know that.
Yeah, you know, white skin is a recessive gene, and I'm not saying that to pass judgment. My oldest grandson has albinism, so his skin is white. I love him just the same, but the fact is that human beings started off with brown skin, and it took 10,000 to 25,000 years for a mutation to happen and create white skin.
Yeah, well, you know, that was that guy. That's that guy, that English boy. His name was Mendel. When he was doing that,
there were several studies that support what he said.
Yeah. That's who I'm talking about. So, but they already knew.
Yeah.
So, you know, my heart goes out to him. You know, I hate the evil that they're dealing with, and I'm going to the fearless leader on that. You know, but what would you expect? I mean, really, what would you expect when you have all this power and you know that you can be wiped out? That you, whatever you are, can become a part of the human race. You can become a part of the human race, because there's only one race of people, and you said it right. It's the human race, which means of color man. All of us have some type of color. All of us, whether it's on the lighter side or on the darker side, whatever it is, but all of us have it. And then you mean to tell me you got a group of people now that are afraid to become human? Ain't that something? They don't want to be human. They want to stay who they are. And my heart goes out to them, because what if the situation was in reverse? Would we be doing the same thing? Would you be trying to fight and protect what you have? I mean, all of a sudden, you just spoke after you've been doing what you've been doing for so many hundreds of years. Now, all of a sudden, you want to have a "we are the world" moment? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. So they're going to fight tooth and nail. They're going to fight tooth and nail. Only thing that's going to push it and make it right is the time that we exist on this planet. Either we're going to destroy all ourselves or we're going to come together. You know, and so
I think what you and Chris are describing is perfect, because it's rage that comes from fear. That's really at the foundation of all of this. These are, you know, George Lopez told a joke, and it was about the 40-50 census. He says, you know, hey, once we become the dominant race, we're going to treat you with the same respect that you treated us all this time, you know? And I think that's something that YT is afraid of.
Yeah, well, I see you got it, my man. YT, that's right.
Taking a page out of your book,
man. You know, so I mean, and you know, I feel for them folk. I feel for them folk. You know, and I feel for them. I don't approve of the evil or the I don't approve of none of that. But even though they are doing what they're doing, they still human beings. They still human beings. Now, does that mean I'm gonna go and live next to one of them? No, that don't mean that. That don't mean that. What that means is I understand. And I still have to say this. What if the situations are reversed? Would we be any better than what they are? Because, see, we kind of think that everything just falls on them. But there was a time when we was running this earth, we called it early civilization. You know, there was a time where we was on top. So what happened? How come we fell off the top? There's been no civilization, none, that has lasted. All of them have failed. And this one too will fail. Will we see it? I don't know. But as far as history is concerned, there is no civilization, because we learned it in school. We learned early world, modern world. We learned about the Byzantine Empire, Mesopotamia. We learned about all. We learned about the Greeks and the Romans, Africans. None of them have survived.
So what you saying? All we got to do is just wait and see what happens next, huh?
No, I don't know, because I'm gonna check out before the end comes. You know,
I was hoping it was going to change when Barack Obama got president. I thought maybe I'd have white slaves or something like that. It just never happened.
But you know, I mean, but
that's a Patrice O'Neill joke. I had to say.
Yeah, but you know, but that his elevation too was for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
His too was for a purpose. You know, it's greater the things that what he did. You know, I don't pretend. I mean, I got my theories on it, and I just keep them to myself. But his was for a purpose, just like the man that followed him was for a purpose. Now, for this man that is now in office, you know, what is his purpose? So the stuff got to be balanced, you know, and so those dreaded words then came back out, right? Socialism has to come back, right? Yeah, y'all know those bad words, socialism, and what is it? What do they call social security? Entitlements, all that old kind of infrastructure, all those crazy words that's designed to help the majority of people who are suffering. You know, the people that have been making money, you know, in their little short time, they 40 and 50 years, they done made some good money. But they don't want to stop making this money. Warren Buffett is 90, and now he's trying to give away, though. Because he can't take nothing with him.
I mean, he already gave away $31 billion.
Yeah, you know.
Who did he give it to?
The Gates Foundation.
Oh, he gave it to another billionaire.
And then he got
the foundation.
And then he got off. He got off that.
But at least that billionaire ain't wasting money going to fucking space.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? The history lesson that you just painted made me think that what we have learned is humans have some issues because all of those civilizations were humans.
Yep.
And they become competitive, greedy, power hungry, and that's what destroyed all of them.
Yep.
Being greedy.
Mm-hmm. Greed is the worst. Greed is a cancer on humanity.
It is. Yep. It is. So where are we going to go next? Have we really learned anything from the history? Are we humans of this era going to change? Will it be the next generation or two or three that comes to the realization that we can't keep doing the same dumb shit, expecting different results?
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, well, the singer Sting said history will teach us nothing, right? So maybe he's right. I don't know. He seems to be right, but I don't know.
Yeah, and you know, the play on words, liberal is a nasty word, socialism is a nasty word. You know, you can twist anything. Like they're now trying to screw up what Dr. King said. They want to try to convert that or change that or spin that to their advantage. Now they're saying, "Oh, well, with me, you know, now, we white people, we're feeling the same way."
Yeah.
Right. We talked.
I bet none of those people that are against socialism returned their stimulus money, though.
None of them. None of them. They got it.
Yeah.
And that's almost worse. That's almost worse than what was that Bakke decision when you claim and reverse racism and stuff.
Yeah,
reverse
they
racism.
try to use the GOP to justify critical race theory with the words of
Dr.
Dr. King.
Ron, tell me what the hell is that?
Well, that's what the GOP bought that whole concept out.
But
Critical
what
race
is
theory.
that? What is that?
Well,
What is that?
they're trying to say that we're not really racist. You know, that's what they're trying to say.
Wait,
Okay.
what? But let's define. In answer to the question, though, critical race theory has been around almost around 50 years. It's been around since the 70s. It's just the study of racism in America. That's it. That's all it is.
But listen. Now I'm confused.
Come.
Now, what? Help me understand. What is ISM? What is ism? What is that? What does that mean? Help me break that out. I know race, but what is the ism? What is that called? What a prefix, suffix? What is that? That ISM. What is that called? Because I think, because I might be drunk. I don't know. I've been having a little water. I might be drunk, but why is it such an issue to love one's own race?
But that's not what racism is.
Well, tell me what the ism is. Tell me what that means.
Well, I won't tell you what ism means, but I'll tell you that racism is essentially judging another race as inferior.
I'm checking.
Which has nothing to do with loving your own race. You can love your own race and not be a racist.
I got it. Okay, so I got it now. Yeah, I see it now. Cause the ism means derogatory.
Right.
See, cause I'm trying to get to the point, or I'm trying to get to see if is it okay for you to love your own race, and then what would you call that? Is that ist? Because I think these buzzwords, this racism and all this old kind of stuff, critical race theory, what the hell is that? That's something that's just been made up, and now we worrying about it. It's like we done got into a situation where the dog is chasing his own tail. We know that white folks been doing us wrong, and they know.
But they don't want to admit it. They don't want to admit it. That's the whole issue.
Oh, okay.
They're trying to get certain aspects of American history banned from being taught in school.
Oh, okay.
Because then they would have to admit some stuff.
Okay, so then why isn't that why would it be such a problem for us to start having our own schools?
Now you want to take control of something. You can't do that.
Oh, okay, I got you. All right, hey, Reg, what you talking about? I got you. You talking about building your own schools? I mean, because I think
next you're gonna be talking about your own bank.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I got that. I got that.
You can't do that.
So critical race
print
theory.
Print your own money,
Yeah, so critical race theory, is that supposed to be designed to help us to stay in our place? Is it supposed to free us? What will be the value to people of color?
Well, what's the value of education?
I don't know. Yeah, I just know what
he says in his classroom. Okay.
I don't know what the value of education is.
Okay.
I mean, I'm still working on that, but I couldn't got to where I am without having the so-called education. But we got to figure out who has made the standards for education.
Well, you know, if you remember when we were, you know, somebody's property, you know, they used to lynch us and torture us if they found us reading, writing, and learning how to do those type of things. So the value in learning was added to their fear that we have to punish you for knowing too much. Okay, so that was part of our history. So when you say education, and we're excelling in all of these, sciences, all the major sciences of the world, then that makes us a person that you just can't tell us anything anymore, because we have now studied it out for ourselves, and now we know more, we know better, we know more. Because before you could be able to tell us that the world was flat. Okay, and then well, Master said the world was flat, and that was the only thing we had to go by, because that's what Master said. But then we found out there were books that said that the world was round. Okay, so now we know for sure that the world is round. Now we know Master was a liar. Okay, so education will definitely bring light to places where we did not have light before. So the value of an education is to empower ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. So the empowerment, now this is just me now, this the empowerment should not necessarily come from the people that oppress us. We need to make that empowerment and take it if it's going to be a real education.
And that's what critical race theory is.
Wait now, but that's what they say it is.
No, that's not what they say it is.
Who started?
All right. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Who started the critical race
facts
theory?
don't matter in this conversation. Go ahead.
I mean, no. Who started the critical race theory?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It does matter, because a lot of stuff it was like there have been a lot of schools. The Jews brought a lot of theory, forward too. There's English theory. Who started this theory? So we can go into it. That's one of the things, one of the problems that, our culture has, is that we don't have the full knowledge of what our people have contributed to the theories. We always swinging off of somebody else's vine. But there have been some great scholars within our own people that half of us don't even know about. More, 3/4 of us don't even know about. I can tell you right now, John Henry Clark, Brother Bad, one of the baddest brothers. And here's the first thing he'll tell you is that black people have never had any friends from anywhere. Everyone have used us. And he's dealing with African civilization. I didn't find out about this brother until I got 28 years old. I was out of school. So when we talk about education, what are we being taught also? When I was in high school, I had to fight to learn African American history. That wasn't given to us. Black history was not given to me when I went to high school, maybe afterwards. But when I was in Tilden High School in 1960, when I was a freshman, we were fighting with that. And then I found out that a HBCU was fighting to bring out critical race theory at their own schools. The phenomenon of learning Black history and being educated about our history is new. It's new. Can't be no more than 60 years old. And we've been here thousands of years. So we're sitting up here not knowing ourselves. And we talking about education. And the first education that we should have is the education of ourselves.
Well, to me, it makes sense in the world, to know about yourself and to know about others, going back to the theory we talked about being part of the human race. But as we know throughout the years, whether it's, grammar school or high school, college, and beyond, someone is writing a version of the truth.
Okay.
It is a classic revisionist history, and we don't really get the truth. We get a version of it. So, for example, you have to have other books out there and other knowledgeable people that will give you alternatives. Like, for example, when I was going to school, one of the classes I had taken called The Alternative Press, and a guy who was also became a talk show host, my instructor was named and still is Salim Muwakil, who also wrote the Chicago Sun-Times during the time, but also was deep into a perspective of Black, brown, anybody else, and get their versions of news, which we call alternative press. And through him, I learned about not what you get in the so-called mainstream media, but other sources of information as well, because there's more information out there. What happens, unfortunately, as we all know, is that you'll get one version and think that's the gospel. No, it's just one version of many other versions that are out there. So it's up to you or anybody around you is going to tell you, hey, look, if I were you, I look into this as well, to broaden your perspective and broaden your mind and broaden your knowledge. So if you don't know that, you just don't know or refuse to know and just put all your thing into one book basket. And that's been an issue for years, especially when it's being rewritten. So what kind of truth are you getting?
Watered down.
Yeah. I see this comment.
What the
Yeah, that is.
people
Thank
in
you.
power want you to know,
That's right.
and filtered out the things that they don't want you to know. They feel that you don't need to know because that will empower you. Now let's cut through the chase. The fact of the matter is, why so many people are losing their damn minds is because they see the world changing and they have no control over it. They can't seem to stop it. So it's the future shock, the fear of losing control, power, money, and everything that goes along with those three elements. So that being said, is the reason why we see so much craziness in our streets today. The cops being crazy, governments being crazy, senators, House of Representatives, former presidents. That's the reason. Let's cut through the chase. Let's not try to make it more complicated than what it is. It's the fear of losing power, control, and money. That's what makes the world go around.
Yeah.
See, I like to dissect things and go straight to the core, and that's at least what I see. Somebody might see it differently, and that's fine. But that's what I see, and I see, and the reason I believe that is because I see the reaction. I see it every day. As I'm driving around in the streets in America, as I'm traveling around, as I'm having conversations with people from all over the world. I just had a client for 30 days from the country of Qatar. Not guitar, but Qatar, okay? Who is a member of the famous and most powerful family in that country for generations. And I had a serious conversation with this man. He was about 44 years old, very wealthy. He brought a family of 6 and 4 people, in addition to his family of 6, him and his wife, 4 kids, four boys. A delightful family, by the way. Really, really cool. Very different than how we live, because they're Arabic, and that's fine. That's what they believe in, and I don't have a problem with that. But the differences in their culture and ours is dramatically different. The one thing that I saw was the father of that family wanted to make sure that his boys were well grounded and not taking for granted the wealth that they have, and to keep them with the understanding, because while I was driving them around, the conversations he was having with his oldest boy was about 14. He was letting them know that humanity is the most important thing, bottom line. And he could very easily say, hey, don't worry about nothing because the world is yours. You don't have to worry about anything. They have people that work with them. They travel with a tutor, a cook, and 2 other assistants that took care of any little detail. That's the life that they live every day. And most of the people in this country don't have that opportunity or that access. But what he wanted to make sure that his boys understood was, and he pointed out things here in America, to poverty, people living on the streets as well. And he said, that's not good. It shouldn't happen. And he compared it with what happens in their country. 25% of their wealth has to go into a special budget back to the government, a tax, basically. And that money is funneled out to people who are less fortunate. Basically, he said there are no poor people, there's no homeless in Qatar. A country of 2.5 million people. 350,000 of them are natives. The rest of them are immigrants, imports. They seem to have a method that's working for them. Now, those numbers are small. The country is not a whole lot bigger than the county of Los Angeles. So in terms of land mass, it's relatively small. But everybody over there is doing well. Allegedly, no poor people.
I'm
That's
glad
good.
you used the word allegedly because we don't know for sure.
Because I don't know. I haven't experienced it. I will probably never go there because the flight is 16 hours, and you would have to drug me, handcuff me, and stuff something in my mouth because I would be the one miserable SOB for 16 hours sitting on a plane. Now,
that's crazy. Well, I hate to interrupt, but I actually have to go. So great to see you again, Lee. Great to see you, Professor. You other 2 knuckleheads, good to see you as always. And hey, been a pleasure. Catch you next week, hopefully.
All right. Take care. Be safe.
All right,
Glad
brother.
you got that first shot.
You know, one thing, Red Beans and Rice you've been putting up a couple of good things about her. She put up some good things. And Ogletree and what they're doing at Harvard, and then on this critical race thing, and then she quoted one of my former colleagues, Dr. Greg Carr from Howard University, who has the world's largest MOOC, a massive online class, which, you know, I'm getting ready to renew my membership on that class. But, you know, even the critical, and I looked up the critical race theory, the link that she talked about for Dr. Charles Ogletree. And Dr. Ogletree has the name of the organization, organization that they started is named after one of the greatest attorneys in America. Yeah, one of the greatest attorneys in America, Charles Hamilton Houston. Did y'all know what Charlie Houston did?
No, but I know you're gonna tell us.
You know, I'm gonna tell you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, he taught Thurgood Marshall.
Right.
He was the one that was against Plessy because, you know, he set the foundation for that. So
Plessy versus Ferguson.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. He laid that out, and he's the greatest lawyer in America. You know, because he the one who killed Jim Crow, set that framework up for all of that. Mm-hmm. And so I think if we're gonna start talking about, you know, critical race theory and stuff like that, y'all know me, right? I want to hear it from me. You know, can you dig it? I don't want to hear the what critical race theory is from someone who is not me. I'll look at their stuff after I look at the person like me says. I'm not going to take what someone not like me says first and live by that. You know, because that's what I was bombarded with while I was in school. Everything, you know, you understand? I was bombarded with all of their story.
Mm-hmm. But you know, when they throw words up like that, they definitely don't mean the same thing as what we mean.
Right.
You know that they are using this as a diversionary tactic to try and prove their point on why we should not be looking into this. You know, so there is some foundation to be able to look at. And I like what she said a little while ago. If you start looking at your history from slavery forward, then
that's John Henry Clark, man.
Right. And that's something that is not said enough, because we had a history before slavery.
Absolutely. Because look, Dr. Ron, I'm crazy. I ain't, I'm not that smart, but I'm crazy. Because I'm thinking that if this world of ours is 100 million years old or whatever, who's to say we wasn't running it before the people that's got it now? And who's to say that we weren't being punished for what we did back then
when we was in charge?
Yeah. That's all I want to put on the table.
And
that's all I want to put on the table, because I listen. I can't keep dealing with the fact that the world started with him when I know I made him. Y'all didn't hear me say that.
Yeah, and I heard you say it. And it's a valid point. But we also have to understand, for our time and season, okay, because that was not our time and season then. We weren't here then.
Absolutely.
Okay, but for our time and season, what are we going to do to try and make what we got around us better? Because that should be an objective for all of us. And I'm going to try and help the professor and Chris and Lee before I try to help somebody else. If I got a choice in the matter, I'm going to pick 1 through 10. And then the first 5 choices are going to be, people that look like me, and then after that, I'll start working on other folks. Okay. Because if I can't help me and mine first, then there's a problem somewhere. Why should somebody object to me trying to help mine first? So if I'm giving up my power and my influence and my knowledge and my wisdom, I'm going to try and help some young people that look like me. You know what I'm saying? Because, sometimes the old people, you can't help them. They already got what they got, and they're going to ride with it until they ain't here no more. I like what my grandfather did. Let me tell this little quick story. My grandfather was raised, he was from the Bahamas, but he came to Chicago and raised his kids, my mother and my aunt, my uncle. And when the Bahamas got its independence from Great Britain, then he went home back to the Bahamas. But he was a businessman here in Chicago. He had off-track betting before there was off-track betting. Okay. He had policy because he had a barbershop. And the barbershop was a mecca for Black everything in our community, back in the 50s and the 40s. And when he decided to go home, he took his knowledge back to the little island where he was from. And all the way up until the time he left this realm of existence, he would meet in the church on the weekend, on Saturdays, and take the young people of the island and teach them things that they couldn't get no place else, only from him. And when he passed away and I went home to his hometown, I call it home too, and some of the young people used to run up to me and tell me all of the things that he had imparted into them. You know, the knowledge of being a businessman, the knowledge of, you know, being in America, you know, all the things that he had to teach them, he taught them, and he left his knowledge with them. So, you know, that to me was a template. That was a blueprint to do the same thing. You know, I want to do the same thing with whatever young people that I come in contact with, to try to help them understand what the road was like for me. You know, what it's like. Because you know, and I had asked my grandfather, he said, well, you know, when he got home, he tried to deal with the older men on the island. He said all they were concerned with was just getting drunk. They didn't want to hear nothing else he had to say. You know, they had already determined that, okay, hey, you know, that was for you. You know, that's what you did, you know, but this is what I'm doing. You know, you want another beer? You know, that was, you know, and that was cool to go hang out with if you just want to drink beer, you know. But if you got something you trying to teach and impart into somebody, you want a young mind that can hear what you're saying and understand how you can take it and add on to it and take it to the next level.
That's right.
You know, and that was a template and a blueprint for me, you know, to be able to understand, help as many as I can. You know, when I was doing my show, and Chris remembers this, when I was at that other station, you know, I used to have interns. I used to bring them in, and on the other station said, well, what you need interns for? You know, and I used to tell them, I said, because I'm trying to teach them something, you know, that they can always use and they can always have with them. And to this day, I'm still in communication with those interns. And the other thing that I did when I was doing all of that was, like, we had, like, that year, that summer, we had over 500 plus killings in the city of Chicago. That was when they came out that summer with the word Chirac, because we had more killings in Chicago than we had any in Iraq. So my attitude was, if I can grab a handful of young people and I can hold on to them tight enough where I can save somebody's life while life is being exterminated in the city of Chicago, then I grab mine. You get yours. Grab you a handful of them, hold on to them, help keep them alive. You know, because that's what we got to do. You know, that's what we got to do. As the elders, we need to do that, you know, and then we need to give them something that they can carry to their next level, you know, and that's a principle, like you've been saying, Professor, greater work shall they do. Like, we've done what we've done, but if we can take our knowledge and give it to somebody and let them do what they can do.
Greater work.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, and all of us, you know, have been blessed or fortunate, and both, to have mentors in our lives, whether it was family members or people outside of our family that became family. They were the ones that had the knowledge to show us the way, you know. And when you had that type of guidance, it did make things look just a little bit more easier. Even though you're in your 20s and 30s, you may think you know everything. I never thought I knew everything. I just wanted to gain knowledge to make myself a better version of myself as I got older. Everybody gets to that point where I know everything. You realize, oh, no, I don't. And then somebody comes along and guides you along the way. And then when you're able to obtain knowledge and to learn from the feet of the masters, and then one day you turn around and you become Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's one of those things where you have to embrace who you are, embrace your title. Like you just said, Dr. Ron, about having interns. You know, Reggie and I, you know, we taught academia. He still continues to do that. When you get that back, for Dr. Ron, for example, the interns you still, you know, keep connection with, that means a lot. Reggie, when people reach out to you and Professor Miles, how you doing? That means a lot. And the same on my end. You know that the sweat equity you put in was not for naught. That something good came out of it. Someone actually listened. Or you might get a student to say, look, you know, I didn't really pay attention then, but I got it now.
Yeah.
So again, when you plant those seeds, just a matter of growth. and everybody got their own learning curve. So it's a matter of how they embrace the knowledge you give to them. And when you teach them something, it's the classic each one teach one.
Yes, yes. You know, I'm like this education thing for me, you know, and we have to have a dual purpose, you know. And you know your old saying that, you know, in this society that since we're not running it right now, we have to be double what any competitor is, right? Or any other person. So we have to know their game, but the missing part of us is that we don't know enough of our own game. Mm-hmm. You know, and we got the capacity to do it. We know how to play the game. We've been playing the game over 400 years, you know. But the first knowledge, you know, the premium knowledge that we have to deal with is the self-knowledge. It's the self-knowledge. Knowing the greatness of our own people before we want to put everything. We're so busy, you know, you're so busy thinking about everybody else. You're never going to go anywhere until you think some about yourself. You know, you got to think some about yourself. You know, what are we going to do to better, you know, ourselves and the conditions for our youth? What our youth? What are we going to do at large? What are we doing for our community? You know, let's talk about media literacy. Let's talk about, we're not going to try to give all our people a bunch of rules. But if we could give them one a year, you know, to make things better. Mama used to say, what is it? A little bit of something beats a whole lot of nothing. And ain't no need of us trying to think that we gonna wave a magic wand and it's gonna eradicate and erase things within our community. You know, we got to do things differently, and we got to do things in love, and we got to be mindful of the evil that's all around us, because the evil is going to want to keep us towards the status quo. No, look, no, dude, it's time for me to try. It's time for me first to love myself. And it's time for me to love my people. I'm cool with We Are the World and all this kind of, I'm cool with all of that. But let me love Dr. Ron and Chris Bass first. Let me love them first. And then Mr. Warshawski. Then since I love myself better, then I can love Mr. Warshawski, because I know that Ron and Chris Bass gonna have my back.
Exactly.
I like that.
You know.
Exactly.
Now that's some critical thinking. That's knee deep. See, you're a funketeer, so you're gonna go way knee deep, you know, into it and bring out the funk, Doc.
Yeah.
Funk intelligent. I want my funk uncut.
Right.
Yes.
Uncut.
Yes. I've been waiting on that all night. He finally brought it home.
Well, we were gonna get to it at the end.
Okay.
I love the fact that we hit on the news on all cylinders. But whose news is it?
Yeah.
Whose news is it?
Right. Well, you know, it's our job to sound the alarm, and that's what we do. You know, we sound the alarm. We make people aware of things that, you know, look at this stuff a second and third time. Just don't take it at face value. And you know, and then when we get through talking about it, you know, they're thoroughly like, man, maybe I do need to go look at that again. Maybe I do need to listen to that again. Maybe I need to pay attention to that again, because we have sounded the alarm. We have pointed out something that they need to look at, you know, a little bit deeper, you know, and just don't let it sit there, you know, and fall into the dream state of a news cycle.
Let me ask this question right quick. Now, So, y'all, we know about the Don Lemon thing, right? With President Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Now, I would think the question of the filibuster and the voting rights, I think that section should have been coming from the Fix It News. I think that should have been on Fox News.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's not going to happen. But that should have been there because those are the people that needed to hear the arguments or whatever for voting rights, because the CNN folk that we all in the same bag.
Right.
We gonna go along with that. But I think that Mr. Biden, however he answered it, and I haven't seen it, so I'm not making. He should have been asked. That question should have been asked by a Fox person.
Yeah.
Because those folk need to hear that stuff.
Yeah, he said he's waiting on stuff to hit his desk, and they ain't delivering it fast enough for him to sign it into it. That's the bottom line. And they have to present things to him, which is the way the system is set up.
Right.
If they don't present it to come across his desk, then talking about it is just that, because all of those GOP and everybody they stalling.
Yeah, they're not gonna move,
man. They stalling because it was pointed out that the thing to fix all of these states that are trying to turn back to Jim Crow 2.0, whatever they want to call it, they're not trying to hear that, and all their representatives that they sent to Washington ain't trying to hear it.
Yeah.
And today, from what I heard on the news, they looking forward to going on break. They're like, oh yeah, we got a break coming up real soon. I'm like, did I just hear him say, with all of the things that are unaddressed and undealt with, they looking forward to going on break? Really?
Yeah.
Guys.
Yes, sir.
I'm going home. I'm still at school.
I thought you being educated. I thought you was at home.
Listen, I'm not no educator. I'm just a teacher.
Man.
I'm still a student, man. I'm gonna keep trying to learn, man. I'm learning more now than I was when I'm learning more. I'm uncovering more now than what I uncovered when I was, supposed to go to K through 12.
Well, look, I'm gonna give you some homework if you don't mind. Okay, you ready?
Go ahead.
Next week, when we come back to meet again on Five Guys and You, I would enjoy hearing what the students are like nowadays.
Okay.
Because if they've spent their money to sign up to a course to go to school, they have something that they're looking for, and you would be able to identify to me, who is not a student, what students are like nowadays.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be good, and I'll accept that. What the students are like today. Yeah. Okay, guys. Peace out.
All right. You ain't gonna wait for Chris to dismiss us?
No. Wait, we can. You go and take off. I'm going to yield my topic to me. So what I mean by that is we're going to cut out, say our goodbyes, and I'll give my topic to myself for tomorrow on Baseline at 4 p.m. Central. So I'll give it to myself later on. So there you go.
Okay.
Oh man, this has been fantastic. It's great to see our fearless leader Lee Michaels come back and join us. He will be back in full totality next Thursday. And for those in the comment section, great stuff. You got a chance to chime in and be a part of this. Thank you so much. This has been, once again, one of those thought-provoking programs where we walked away with something. For Professor Reggie Miles, for the Chocolate Buddha, I call him Chocolate Buddha because that's what he is, Francisco Acosta, for Dr. Ron Ford, and for myself, Chris Bass, and of course, our fearless leader, Lee Michaels. Thank you for being here. We do this every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. on the West Coast. Make sure you go to YouTube and type in SNN, and you get Street News Now. Subscribe, like, and share. Have a good one. Take care, everybody. Be peaceful.
Peace.
Peace.